Alrighty. Let's get ready to do some painting. This is, I forgot I could switch to this. I changed it up. Let's get ready to paint this. Oh, some steps and some stairs. I like steps and stairs. Steps and stairs seem to lead you somewhere. They tell a story. There's something about them. They get you from a place to a place. I want to try to convey some of that in this. I think it's a nice challenge to do. Let's look down here on my paper. I've got mine drawn out. Let me do this. It's here. There it is. There's mine. And this happens to be a photo I took a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. I don't know, a little while ago, not very long ago. And down by the Natural History Museum in my town, there's a giant rock that overlooks it. I mean, the rock is bigger than the building. And you can climb up there, and there are these walkways that go up to the top of it. It's not a hard climb. It's not very far, but it's a very nice walk up there. And this is part of that little trail, the little staircase that goes up. It's just a little path. Let me come back here. Very craggy. I have spent a lot of time walking up there. I will be honest with you. Whatever it was, the comet that came past that we all could see in the sky, it was very small a couple of years ago. I viewed that from up there. You go up there at night, you can see the entire Milky Way. It's actually quite beautiful. So I've chosen that as my steps or stairs to draw. So let's get some things out of the way. The paper that I'm using, listen to that. Oh, that's thick. This is 300-pound Arches watercolor paper, and it feels all of 300 pounds. So we'll use this. I'm going to field some questions about this because I've used this on a practice painting last week or earlier this. I guess it was earlier this week. And the brushes that I'm going to use, as I have been for so long now, are my King Art brushes, the 90-20 series of brushes. My paints over here on my right-hand side are my M. Graham paints, which I love very much. Hello to Natalie, Liza, Dana. Welcome, 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 everyone. And we've got a few people in that I see have joined us. You don't have to say anything. That's fine. You can stay in the background. But if you have an interest, we're all pretty nice here. I would love to hear from you. Just reach out and say hello. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Totally understand that too. So what I did find from this paper is that this paper is quite forgiving. It's quite nice paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-wet a lot of this paper. There's a little bit of blue tint on my brush here, and that's okay. And I'm going to wet the top third of this, or the top half of this page, maybe. And then I'm going to put some color on, and then I'm going to start moving slowly down the page. And I'm doing this because, well, one, I know that some of my paints like to leave a hard edge, and I don't want to leave a hard edge. I want to do some of this in the background very soft, so I want to get a little bit of dampness on here and let some of these colors run together a little bit back here. There we go. And since this is just going to be such a light little background anyways, right, there's not much to it. I thought I could just do this pretty quickly and then we could move on to some bigger, better other things anyways. Susie's here. Hello, Susie. So I hope you all have been having a wonderful week this week. I'll tell you what I've been up to. I have taken a vacation day, which I'm very excited about. I don't take too many vacation days, and so Monday and Tuesday I took vacation days this week. And when I returned to work today, I found out that I was able to get so much of my work done in a few hours. I've just been so run down and so tired. But when I started working today, I felt like I was a powerhouse of work, and so I was able to get quite a bit done. All right. So there's my basic sky. Just very light blue. The top tray on my palette over here is typically where I mix my blues, and it had some blues and some grays in there, and that's fine. I put a little Cobalt Blue in there, maybe a little bit of Cerulean Blue in there. You can see on this paper, maybe you can see it's starting to granulate just a little bit. Maybe that'll get even better with the granulation. We'll be able to see that. And so I just want to continue down with some of this. And this is where this paper really comes into play, in that it's not going to run all that much up against the color up there, right? This paper is so good that it's going to hold my colors basically in place where they're at. So I'm going to wet just a little bit more of this. At least that's what I've found as I've been using this paper. Now I'll show you when I'm done with this, probably once we start letting this dry a little bit, what I had worked on this paper. There we go. And before I go too far into everything, I do want to say I have come up with a challenge for next month. I think you'll all be happy. Probably not quite as complex as the one we're doing this month. So what I have scheduled for next month is everybody's favorite, watermelon, right? I'm thinking summertime, everybody's out and about. What's one thing that we all do or like? Well, maybe not everybody, but almost everybody. And that is a nice big slice of watermelon, right? Maybe I should have done it for the 4th, but it's okay that I'm doing it now. So what I'm doing, I'll just let you know exactly what I'm doing as I'm doing this. I'm basically just trying to get a bit of a base coat on here. And just dropping in some general colors where I think they need to go. I'm not trying to be too specific about anything. And I want to put some grays and maybe some neutrals in on some of these rocks. But I want to have a kind of a hodgepodge of colors here. Maybe some a little bit lighter in some areas and some a little bit darker in some areas. Here's a little bit of Paynes Gray I'm going to put on this side. Maybe we'll warm that up right in the middle. I'm not even bothering to rinse my brush off, which is pretty astounding for me. Normally I'm cleaning my brush every moment I can. All right, these rocks down here, I did wet this. Boy, this has dried out quickly. These have some ochre colors in them. Maybe as we get closer, there's some of the sepia tones in there. These burnt umber that I have on some of this. Liza, I knew you were going to ask paper questions, and thank you. Would I rank this as my favorite paper? That's tough. It's tough because I've used it so little, but I will say in the little time I've used it, it is pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And so somebody on here a little while ago, and Liza, it may have been you, and you can claim this, or you can say no, it wasn't me. But somebody asked me how it is that I'm able to paint on just about any sheet of paper and not get a whole lot of warping, right? Well, it's because I don't typically wet the entire page, and it doesn't allow it to get these big warped areas. But this, you've just seen, I put a lot of water, probably as much water as I've put on anything that I've painted live on here, and I've got just one little tiny warp right here. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Okay, so in true watercolor fashion, I put on my first layer of paint, and it looks like a hot mess. It does. But this is our base layer. We're going to use this and start building on, I guess we're not building on highlights, we're building on lowlights and dimensionality from this point forward. So I've got to let this dry a little bit. Having said that, let me show you what I did previously on a sheet of this paper. If I can just move this out of the way a little bit. Here's what I did. And you can see, well, I tried to do this all wet into wet. You can see I've got some really smudgy details that go here, and they all run together. Put a lot of water on this, and it did warp a little bit. You can see it just coming up a little bit, but really not bad at all. And I bet if I got it wet again and held it down, it would be just perfect. But I was able to get this all wet and add all of these details in here. I mean, they're not really details, they're just different paint colors and saturations in some different areas. And it just held the water beautifully and made it look fantastic. I know, the other thing I was going to show you is, oh, thank you, Liza, is that, can you hear? If I try to flex that, can you hear how heavy that is? That's 300-pound paper. This is Arch's. This is a sailboat. I don't even know when I did this sailboat. But this has a stamp here. This is Arch's 140-pound. And listen. Like, I can flex it like this. That's so weird. And this one, no way. It's just so solid. So solid. But Liza, it sounds great. Liza, I'm gonna get back to answering your question here a little bit. Is this my favorite paper? I would hope. I think last week I told you that my wife got all this paper at a no, I'm sorry, not a thrift store, at an estate sale, and she paid, not much for all of it, right? I looked it up, and I tried to look it up. I didn't even find how much a sheet of this paper was, because this is 300 pound. All I could find is how much a sheet of 140 pound Arches paper was, cold press paper, and that was $40. I can't imagine. This is probably $60 that I just cut up. So it better be like my favorite paper because it costs a ton. Okay, so I can touch this now. It's cold. It feels why a score? What a score! Exactly. Every now and again, we find little things like that. This is an artist's haven here. People come from all over to paint here, and so we often find treasures like that scattered about. Okay. I think I'm going to let the trees, I've got some big trees, you can see them over there, some big trees that are going to come into play a little bit later, but I'm going to start up here. Just penciling in, or just putting a little bit of color in on a couple of these steps. And I'm going to grab a little blue here, and hopefully this will push this back just a little tiny bit. What, $40? A big sheet? Yes. So this sheet it came as a 20 by 30 sheet of Arches watercolor paper is how this is. And then I cut it because I can't even fit a 20 by 30 sheet of paper on my desktop here. So I cut it down. And some people would be upset with that. But I did it. I take full responsibility for it. And it's expensive and it's thick. And I've actually got some other bits and pieces of old paper like this. Let's see, that I have never used. So I do every time. Wait, I missed something. Arches 300 pound, 30 by 20. I think it's 30 by 20 is the sheet. I'll grab one and pick it up if you want to see it. I've got a little container of it all over here. I'm happy with letting you see it. I don't think there's any secret to it or anything like that. But it is a big sheet of paper. Where are you shopping? No, it's an estate sale. We weren't necessarily shopping anywhere. My wife saw that there was an estate sale from an artist, and she went, oh, I got to go and check that out. And so she went to look and found that there's quite a bit of stuff there and was nice enough to pick me up some paper. I got some nice stretch canvas at a rummage sale last Saturday. Nice. $1.50 a canvas. That's great. I love when you find stuff like that at thrift stores or at estate sales or yard sales or anything like that. I think it's fantastic. Let's see. I'm gonna drop a little dark under here. This is going to be a step right there. Did she buy any art supplies for herself? No, she doesn't do this kind of art. She did not. She is not a painter. Anita's here. Hello, Blix, 300 pound for 34. Oh, well, I'm looking at the wrong spot. All right, there you go. I should have looked on Blick. Well, regardless, I think it was a pretty good find. So I cut 2 of them down into different sizes. I've got 6 more that I can cut down in some way, shape, or form. I'm actually pretty excited about the paper. I tried for a while to only paint on Arches paper and quickly determined that Arches is really expensive. I don't know if anybody knew that. Arches is really expensive. But I've got a big thing of all my big paper here that I use. I can't even get it back to where it goes. It weighs like 25 pounds or 30 pounds. This is your favorite paper too. All right. I'm in good company. Cheeks Blue still pricey at that price. So 300 pounds. So I was thinking that was 140 pound. I obviously read it wrong. I'll take the blame for that. I read a lot of stuff wrong. But that's okay. It's totally okay. You're glad I got a deal on my paper. I didn't get the deal. I was lucky enough that my wife got the deal on the paper. Just want to make sure that the credit goes to the right person. I mean, I'm happy to take credit for it, but in reality, it wasn't my find. But I'm completely excited about it and looking forward to using it more and more. The other funny thing is that I just bought all that other watercolor paper. Now I'll probably mix in using both of them at some point. Just keep going with it again. Yeah, Susie, you're right. Nothing is really cheap these days. Everything has gotten expensive and kind of out of control. Everything has gotten to be a bit expensive. That's all right. I'm just putting in, I'll tell you what I'm doing as I'm going along here. And I'll also let you know that I can just feel this is just damp a little bit here. I'm just dropping in some color here. And I'm trying to figure out what needs to be a little bit lighter and what needs to be a little bit darker as I drop this color in. But what I'm putting in are the risers on these stones at the moment. I guess, you know, if you really want to think about it, what I'm doing is kind of the negative painting of the steps. This is the part of the steps that you don't necessarily always see. Right, this is the part that comes up, not the part that goes over. And once we get this on, then we'll take a look and see what we want to do with the treads that are on here. Liza says, I soothe myself when I buy supply with. Well, will it ever be cheap again? It won't ever be cheap again. It's just going to be how it's going to be. We all kind of need to adjust. Tracy Perkins is here. Welcome, Tracy. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Let's see. This comes down here. I'm going to paint this kind of this way. Let's see, get some blue over here. Just comes down this way. There you go, Tracy. Liza loves your channel. That's awesome. If anybody doesn't know, anybody who's here, Tracy has her own channel on YouTube, and she does some watercoloring. She does some drawing. Tracy did a flip through of a book. Actually, Tracy, I have to say, I really like. Oh yeah, you did some portraiture. Tracy, I like that. I think this is actually pretty cool. And I don't do anything on camera like this, but I'm glad that you do. I've seen a number of your videos, and I will be honest, I haven't seen all your videos, so I don't know if you do it with all of your videos or not, but Tracy lights a candle before she starts doing a lot on a number of her videos, and I think that's pretty neat. I don't do that. I don't have a candle going here, but I do have a little what do you call it? A little vaporizer over here that has a scent in it. So I have a certain scent I like to smell. That sounds terrible. As I'm painting, and so I dripped some in there and just turned it on before I started out right here. But Tracy does all hers on camera. I think that's pretty cool. Anita, that is a great question. Anita's got a question. This is probably not a great question, but how do you know when to paint a hard edge versus a soft edge? I got it. Easy answer. There's no good time for a hard edge. I hate hard edges. So the real answer is or I guess the way I would answer it is you have to determine what your form is. And if your form, like this rock right here, has a hard edge, I'll paint a hard edge. But if there is no hard edge on things, my personal opinion is that I very much dislike hard edges. I very well may stand alone in that thinking, and I'm okay with that. But that's God. Why do you ask tough questions? So I think more to the point. There's actually a better answer to that, and a better answer probably is that hard edges don't really matter all that much. Especially on an undercoat. If you're going to paint over something, unless that hard edge is like super dark, you're probably going to be able to paint over top of it without too much trouble, and you'll be able to get rid of it. Hard edges are weird because you're going to get some naturally by the way your paint goes on, unless you're painting totally wet into wet and doing a very loose painting. So my little eagle here, if you'll allow me to grab this little eagle again real quick, and I'll show you something on here. Let's see. Tracy said, you love creating a relaxing environment for yourself. Yeah, and everyone watching. Like I said, that's a great idea. So, on here, this is interesting because I don't think you can see it, but I can see it. So obviously hard edge around the outside, right? Anything that defines the shape gets a hard edge. Right, hard edge around the eye, hard edge around the brow, hard edge around his beak and his mouth here. But in doing that, right, where's something I can point with? As I've tried to put paint on here, and quite honestly, this is probably 5 layers of paint that's on here to darken right around that eye and make that so dramatic. I've tried to blend out the water as far as I can, but look right here, you can see there's a hard edge, and there's a hard edge here, and I don't know if you can see the one that goes up that way. There are a couple of tiny little hard edges in there, and that comes about as a result of spreading the paint out. As long as I go over that with another layer, then I can get rid of that hard edge. I can get rid of it pretty easily, quite honestly. But then that brings up the question, does it cause another hard edge? And it may, but at some point, if that hard edge is very light and very small, if you stand more than a couple of feet away, you'll probably never see it. It would never be anything to worry about. Tracy, you don't like hard edges either. How about lost edges? Do I ever paint lost edges? So now, Liza, you're going to make me have to think now. A lost edge, I believe, is if I have a wet, and somebody's going to correct me on this. If I'm painting something wet here and something wet here, and the colors come together, I lose the edge between them. Actually, I might have a lost edge here, because I was also painting something else this weekend, which is the old general store up in Edna Valley, and right in here I've got a lost edge. This bush kind of wraps around. Let me see if I can do this. And they kind of meld together here. But it's enough of a difference that you can kind of see that is a lost edge. I'm okay with that. I actually kind of like lost edges. There's another one kind of over here. A little bit you can just see where they come together. I'm kind of okay with lost edges. It's like a nice gradient that runs out in between the two. A little stronger in one direction, a little less in another. A little less in another. Liza, you like the general store. I'm trying very hard to do some architectural drawings. It's just that architecture doesn't like me. Architecture wants me to do something else. Something not architecture. That's all right. It's okay. I'm going to get better at it. I'm going to keep practicing. I'll get better at it. All right, let's see. I've got a few bigger shadowy areas on here. So these are the general risers as I see them to get up this staircase. Okay, boop, boop, boop. You walk up. This is all one big stone here. This stone has a big crack in it. This makes it look a little odd. Actually, let's take care of that right now. Give me a little bit of neutral tint in some of this blue. Watch this. We might get a lost edge right here. Let's see. There's a big crack right in there. I don't like just blue in here, but I do like And you put a little bit of that neutral tint in there. I think that looks quite nice. And then warm this up as we come to the outside. It should be much more like the gray on the rest of our stone here. And then we can let these colors kind of just run together and be a little bit happy. And that should look like, if I'm lucky at all, a big crack in these stones. In fact, if I force that to go back there a little bit, it's going to look more like a crack. There it is. It looks like a little crack in that stone there. All right. Well, Renee is here. Hello. Hello. Yeah. Let's see. Susie says, yes, a lost edge can be where a line you'd expect to be there isn't there. And Susie says, I don't outline, but it's hard for me to let some areas of the painting be undefined. Don't have to be undefined necessarily, just not forced into place. But I understand the lost edges are part of a painting. Yeah, they can be. They can be a really interesting part of a painting too. So that's always a cool thing. Okay, so basically what I've got here now, let's see. This is a big rock. These are some greenery. And then basically on the sides of this are all of these other rocks. They're just kind of cobbled up there to support the trail that goes up. So I'm going to start on some of those, and I'm going to do these one at a time. And so you'll see me do one here and one here and one there and one there and one there to kind of leave myself a little bit of a dry-ish area to paint. So I'm going to jump in and start with this rock right here. And I'm going to start by getting him just a little bit wet, or her. It could be a her, I guess. And I'm going to start a little bluer at the bottom. And then I'm going to warm it as I come to the top. Whoa, let's see, that's way darker than my blue. And why do I think I grabbed the wrong blue here? I might have to make a quick adjustment. So this comes up to the top, and quite honestly on this painting, I'm not overly concerned with the colors of these rocks. Some of them can be like more of an ochre color. Some of them could be a bluer color. We do have quite a mix of types of rocks out here. A lot of bluestone. We have some weird red rocks. And then we've got some that are brown, almost maroon. So we've got a wide variety. And I think that, you know, to some extent, as long as we don't get too crazy with some of the colors, adding a number of these different colors are going to really help us out. Bloopers are great. Who said bloopers are great? Renee, you love painting rocks. Well, Renee, come on over. I'll let you finish this up. No, rocks are fun. Rocks are fun because they're liberating, right? I think what makes them fun is you paint a rock, and that rock can look like anything, right? The color doesn't have to be perfect. The shape, well, the shape has to be perfect here because I've kind of drawn the shape of the rock in, but in general, right, a rock can be any shape. Right? You draw a face, and oh my God, you got to be right on. Tracy, I don't know how you do it. Tracy does a lot of portraiture and faces, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because you got to get the dimensions just right. You've got to get the ears at the right level, and the nose at the right level, and the eyes the right width, and everything like that. Holy cow. to me, I'm just like, whoo, I don't know how people who paint or draw portraits are able to do it, but Tracy does it. Tracy does a great job with it. So my hat is off to you for that. Rocks are amazing to paint on. Interesting. Oh, Jacqueline is here. Where's Jacqueline? Hello, Jacqueline. Good evening. I'm glad you could join us. I'm glad you could make it. Let's see. I got a rock right here. Hope I'm doing this where you all can see. I think the worst thing about portraits are hard. Portraits are very hard. I think the worst thing about painting live here is that I'll get all fired up and I'll get all excited about painting something, and I'll move my page and then it's 5 seconds before you all see it, and then it's another 5 seconds before anybody can respond to me, and then I see it, and then pretty soon it's 10 or 15 or 20 seconds and I've been painting off the screen and who knows what. I don't know, it just seems funny. Let's see, I'm going to do this. I have this blue down here, and I don't like that. So I'm going to drop in a little red on this rock. And the reason that I don't like that is not because I don't want any blue on there, but I want this to feel closer, right? And the one trick, I guess not the one trick, but one trick that we have to make things closer is to warm that color up. So a little bit of the red just in there might be enough to pull that forward for us, right? Let's see, Renee, you love painting skin tones. Tried that. I like painting skin tones if they're feathers on birds. Liza, you don't do people too well, but you're pretty good with dogs. All right, cool. I painted my brother's and niece's dogs, and they were very happy. The dogs were happy, or your nieces were happy? Your brothers and nieces. I hope your brothers and nieces. Well, I hope the dogs were happy too. Jacqueline, you like painting portraits. Oh my Lord. Let's see. Tracy says you also have to be extremely careful about where you place lines. Too many lines in the face can make a young person look old. There you go. I wouldn't have thought of that. All these things you learn. Turning young people into old people. Well, look at this rock. How nice do these rocks look all of a sudden? Just a little bit of paint on there in just the right way. Renee, you have a hard time. Let's see. Renee, you have a hard time with symmetry. And Liza, you were surprised that yellow makes a good skin tone. That is weird. It works, but it is a little weird. You just don't think there's so much yellow in skin. And I don't care what kind of skin it is. We all have a good bit of yellow in there. I should get out. I must have it somewhere. That one, well, you all know I've taken 2 watercolor painting classes in my life, right? I was wildly disappointed in both. But in the one, we did have to paint skin tones. Tracy, Liza, you said Tracy learned with every line that you have. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. One of the things I did learn that we did do was we painted skin tones, and like you all, I was like, yeah, I'll just drop in some skin color. What makes skin color? And then I had to figure it out, and holy cow, I was shocked at the amount of yellow that goes into skin tones. It's an amazing amount. But what you end up with is usually something that looks pretty nice and pretty realistic. But you do have to be a little careful because you can end up with something that looks like you're a minion or you're Pac-Man. Oh, the primaries are essential in portraiture. I think using primaries is way a lost art. I mean, look at mine. I guess I use a few. I always go back to them, but we just don't. We're so used to having so many different colors, a different color for everything we want to do, really. That we don't use just primaries all that often. I'll tell you what, I feel a challenge coming on, a primary color challenge. Use nothing but primary colors, blah, 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 blah. Susie, you took a drawing class in your watercolor paintings. I can believe. I totally believe that because when you're forced to draw something, then you learn to draw the value of it. You're not so worried about what the object is, but you really are forced to look at the value that you're drawing, and that alone can really carry over into watercolor painting. That will really, I really can see that help. Absolutely. Let's see, there's a big chip out of that rock right there, I think. And it's got another big old crack over here. This crack probably is going to get covered up, and we might have to put that back in. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Exactly. To help the values right. Wait. I also like these buff titanium plus Quiacridone Red, red leaning, blue plus yellow Sylphy. I'm not even sure what we're talking about here. I'm pretty sure those are all colors. I'm just not sure I know what those colors are. But you use ochre is also nice, but you use basically what you're saying is you use a bit of red, a bit of blue, and a bit of a yellow and fashion up a tone which seems to work, which I totally get. Jacqueline is doing a little humble brag here. Self-taught, and you know what? Good for you. There's nothing in watercolor painting. Actually, there's probably nothing in most of art that we can't teach ourselves. I think a big part is we like to get the feedback, and we like to know that what we're doing is something that's good. But man, with stuff today, I would hate to be in art school today, because there are so many things that people can learn online that you used to not be able to learn. I'm betting there's a lot of art school that is not justified going to. But probably, I mean, if I were them, I would change my model and not do a whole school. I would do lots of classes is what I would do. I think that's where you would do your best. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting rock right here. So one other thing I'm trying hard not to do in here, just because I want you to know, in addition to putting on these colors like this, which is in seemingly an odd way, but it's going to make it's going to give the rocks a bit more life. Excuse me. Is I'm trying not to put on all one intensity. Like, look at this rock. This rock I think looks really neat up here, and look, super light in that area and much darker down there. So I want to have that difference. That's that little bit of light shining off of there somehow. That's all that is. That's all that is. Well, that's all. That's nothing. Whew, whatever. Didn't quite mean it like that, but or this is a skill and we can learn it. Tracy, thank you. When I started, my wife, who actually did go to art school, you know, she's the talented one in the family. She always used to say, drawing and painting is a muscle. You know, you might never grow up to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or, you know, whoever has giant muscles, but you're going to get better at it. The more you flex that muscle, the more you're going to learn how to flex that muscle, and the better you're going to get at using that muscle. Renee, you're also taught with YouTube Versity. Good for you. I mean, I count myself among the graduates, or maybe I'm still in school. I don't know. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I had an idea of how I thought I should paint and started with it, and gradually moved into doing a lot of watching others do things on YouTube, and eventually I've come up with my own style, or what I think is my own style anyways, and different ways I like to paint. Everybody else can let me know whether it's good or bad. It's you know, I just count it as being kind of mine. Let's see, Liza says, I tell anyone who says they can't draw better than a stick figure, well, you are still an artist, you just don't know it yet. You know what I tell everybody? And I don't know where this came from, but it certainly is true. I tell everybody, look, argue for your limitations, and you got them. Right? You can tell me you can't do something. Yeah, you're right. You can't do it. But that's kind of the easy way out, right? Tell me what you can do. Show me what you can do. Don't argue that you're not able to do something. Argue that you can do something. Let's see you do it. I want to take a little bit of color off of there. All right, all right. So the thing I haven't figured out on this painting yet, I'll be honest, as I'm going through here and trying to paint a couple of rocks, some of these rocks over here I think really look nice, is, excuse me, is, what I'm having a hard time figuring out is how I'm going to do the weeds and reeds and everything around here. I haven't quite figured that one out, but we'll get to it. We'll get to that, I believe. Oh, I do have some other news for you all. Some other art news. How about this? Some other art news. I have art news. I feel important. I have art news. Mr. I can't do anything but watercolor paint. I actually bought some gouache the other day. So you might see me doing a gouache painting on here at some point. But don't worry, it's not good gouache. It's pretty low budget. And I don't mean that in a degrading way. It is very low budget. I bought it at the Five Below. because I just wanted to see what it was like. So you got some rocks all stacked up there. Those are looking pretty good. Oh, let's see. Let's see, Tracy. I really encourage my family members, especially young ones, drawing or painting brings such peace. Drawing and painting allows you to use your imagination in such creative ways. That, to me, is as much an important thing as anything else, especially in today's day and age where we kind of don't use our imagination anymore. We kind of rely on, what color do I have here? We kind of rely on our electronics to be our imagination for us, and that kind of has always not sit real well. How was the Five Below purchase? It was horrible. So funny thing happened on the way home from Five Below. I paid, as you can imagine, right? It's in the name. I paid $5 for it, which is all well and good. That's neither here nor there. I got it home and I tried to peel the top off of the little containers. Nope, not happening. The tops did not want to come off. The foil peeled off, which is fine. Foil totally peeled right off. I left a sheet of plastic underneath, which I had an extremely hard time peeling off. And I ended up with paint on everything. My whole desk is covered. My fingers are covered. Everything was covered in paint. But I got it out. I haven't tried it out yet. I'm curious how it's going to be, but I really haven't tried it out yet. So more to come on that when I start to do something with it. Come on, Sepia, come on out of there. A little bit of sepia and a little bit of neutral tint here. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is sepia and neutral. I actually think are two colors that really go kind of well together. So I want these rocks to look just different enough, and I think that they are. This is a big rock here. These are some little ones kind of stuffed underneath. Jacqueline says, have a large Holbein set bought years ago and haven't opened it. Oh, no, you got to open it. You got to open it. I think Tracy's right. Or Liza is right. I'm sorry. I have some Holbein paints. I think they're lovely. I really do like them. They're quite nice. Let's see, Tracy. Michael, when you're not live, try painting with low light and a lit candle while listening to Bella's Lullaby on repeat at a very low volume. In a peaceful Zen sleeping state, I think. You know what you know how I normally paint? I shouldn't say this. Normally, I will put my headphones on. If I'm just painting by myself, I'll put my headphones on, and I'll probably put on a little George Thorogood and the Destroyers, or maybe a little Van Halen. Kind of turn it up a little bit. And just kind of give it, I don't know, 5 or 7 minutes to settle in, something like that, and then everything kind of fades away a little bit. I can concentrate on concentrate on just doing some painting. I used to try to paint while listening to podcasts, and I found out I'm not good at that. I found out I'm really not good at that. All of the podcasts just distracted me, so I need something that's not going to overtake my focus. But point taken, I'll consider. I try not to have open flame out here in the garage, but I will give it a try. I do have a couple of candles out here somewhere. When it gets colder, from time to time, I fire them up to try and warm it up in here without having to turn a heater on. Sometimes it just means I have to be in here a long time. Let's see, Jacqueline says, I have a large, fully equipped studio, but still haven't painted since I lost my husband 7 years ago. Oh, Jacqueline! Well, first thing, right, sorry about your husband. Second thing is, might be great thing to do. Might be some really good therapy, right? Oh, no, let's see. Liza, you have to laugh. I was doing yard work, and my neighbor asked me, incredibly, you like AC/DC. What did you say? We want to know. Maybe that'd be good to paint too. I will admit I do kind of have to tone it down after a little bit. I can't. I'm not 20. I can't keep with that music for too long. All right. All right. I'm liking the way these stones are looking. I think they're looking quite nice. You all will be the final judge of this, but I like the direction this is going. AC/DC rocks. I don't know why. I rediscovered George Thorogood. I think he came onto my YouTube feed actually a year ago or so, and I was like, God, I haven't heard anything of his in about 15 years or some such thing as that. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, that's all I want to listen to now. I will tell you this funny little story. My son, my youngest, and I were coming back from, we were driving back from town. I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what we were doing in town. We do all kind of stuff and try to get into or stay out of trouble often, depending upon which one is going to be more interesting. We were driving home. Now, driving home from town probably takes 20 minutes or so, I would guess. 20, 25 minutes, something like that, to drive here from the next biggest town over. And we have one oddball radio station here. It's called the Pig, and they always play these weird songs. And I don't know what caused me to turn on that radio station, but they were playing a Grateful Dead song. So we drove home. The rest of our drive home was 14 minutes long, and the song was still going on. There didn't seem to be any slowdown in sight on that song. Let's see. Jacqueline, do us all a favor, get back out there. Absolutely. I listen to fantasy books while painting, but okay, Renee, but doesn't it feel like it I don't know. I feel like I can't concentrate quite enough when I do something like that. Susie Moon, poor younger generation having trouble getting a shared culture like we had. Too much internet. Yeah. Yeah, probably way too much internet. Yeah. I get grilled by my youngest son to paint. I don't have much time left. Oh, stop it. Stop it. I used to read as a hobby, then painted and missing reading, so Audible while painting. Okay, cool. That's cool. I do a lot of Audible books. I do a lot of podcasts. I can't do it. This is not nearly dark enough over here. I can't do the two together. That's a me thing. I cannot. I have tried. One of the two always wins out for my attention, and either my painting stops or suffers, or I can't concentrate on the book, and I never know what happened. I'll get to the end of it, and I'll go, I don't have any idea who did what. Ooh, what can we got here? There's a interesting little rock here. I'm going to just touch these sides together. Oh, I kind of like that. I think that's going to make that look nice. It is kind of a rounded, weird kind of shape. Let's see, Eliza, you admit you're a true crime lover, podcast, trials, that sort of thing. Uh-oh. Confession time. I listen to, you don't, you want to know, I listen to true crime. I do. Some. I listen to the True Crime Garage, right? If anybody listens to True Crime podcasts, you probably know who True Crime Garage is. Listen to the Prosecutors, on and off, some other ones. But what I really like listening to, what really is fun to listen to for me, is rebroadcasts of all the old Coast to Coast AMs with Art Bell. They are so fun to listen to. I found a few podcasts that just rebroadcast them all, and you can listen to all of his old shows from from the mid-90s all the way till when Art retired in 2004, 2006, something like that. I don't remember exactly when he retired finally, but yeah, I got a lot of his stuff there, and it's so fun to listen to. You watch a lot of trials. Okay, who watches the trials? I got a question. And there's no right answer and no wrong answer. But this was the biggest case. Gibbers McGee and Malkey, Old Time Radio. Interesting. So I have to ask. I don't have to, but I'm going to ask. Because the case just ended. And it ended in what many thought was kind of a surprise. And it's still being fought about now. What do you think of the Karen Reed verdict? Well, I don't want to get into a whole discussion about it. I'm just kind of curious. Was it? Did it get it right? Should she have been guilty, acquitted? What's the strangest? What was the strangest case? If anybody doesn't know what that is, we won't dwell on it for too long. I just finished Karen Reed. Depp versus Hurt. Oh, that was a wild one. I didn't watch or listen to any of that, but I got the update from my wife on that almost every night. So I do know quite a bit of that one. Should have been acquitted. Okay. All right. Should have been acquitted. I think that's where I stand on that one, too. But that was a strange case. Okay. All right. So, that's what I missed. Who is Karen Reed? Karen Reed was a woman who allegedly killed her husband, who happened to be a Canfield, what was the name of the town? Police officer just outside of Boston. But he was killed, or he died, in some very mysterious circumstances around some very strange people on the property of a policeman, and the police seemingly didn't want to solve the case. I mean, they did such a bad investigation. I don't care who you talk to, everybody has to admit that. And the witnesses were comical. It was just done very badly by the police department and Massachusetts State Police and everything. Anyway, it was crazy. The Black Swan one most recently, right? The ballet dancer who killed her husband, allegedly. Well, actually, that one's not alleged, right? That one, we know she did it. We just are wondering, were there any other reasons why she did it? I think that's the question on that one. Oops, I want to get some of this as I'm moving along here. Right, I want to get in some of this green. I don't want to miss out on all of this green here and let the rocks have all the fun. So I'm going to drop a little green in here, and this can work as a background color. It's almost as though it's the first layer. But I want to get this in here just in case I decide I'm going to paint over that area. I'll know not to paint over that area because there's greenery there. And it's going to let me know exactly where else I need to put some color. Right, this green comes up and around, and I'm going to mix it with some of this Gamboge. I'm going to mix it with some of this Hansa Yellow. I'm totally fine, even with some of this burnt umber. I'm totally fine with this color changing as it goes through and around these rocks. Can do what it's going to do over here. Something, I think, like that. I think that's pretty nice as just something there. Uncle 60 is here. She was a frustrated watercolor artist. The Black Swan. Black Swan, is that what it is? The husband punched the dog. He did punch a dog. That's like unexcusable in my book. Very few reasons to have to punch animals. I don't know. That bothers me. I don't know, again, I will admit to not knowing the entire case there, so I might be off on my thinking on some of that. Let's see. I'm going to take this green right up and around that little rock. This isn't exactly what a reference photo shows, and I think that's okay. Right? I'm totally fine with adjusting this to fit our needs a little bit. That's too much. Too bright. Why are you that bright? Come on, give me something to cool that down a little bit. There we go. Better, better, better. That's better. Now, if you, oh shoot, Andy, does anybody? Okay, let's have a test of watercolor painter knowledge. Does anybody know? I can't remember his name. A watercolor painter named Andy something. He's a contemporary. Liza, you're saying it's coming together very well. Oh, thank you. Andy, not Caldwell, Andy something. Or I'm sorry, Andrew. Anyway, he did a whole series of paintings. He's traveled around. Fantastic, obviously fantastic watercolor artist. But his whole thing, or one of his whole things, was lots of stuff has to be connected. You can't have stuff hanging out there on its own. Right? These rocks have to be connected going up the side. If you're going to have greenery, you can't have greenery in two places. You've got to have it connected somehow. It's got to touch. Make it one mass instead of making it in two masses. And he's kind of right. So many things look so much better when they're, no. I'll give you, I know it's not Andrew Gleason. If you were to give me 5 minutes, I might be able to find it. He's from Minnesota, if that helps. I'm sure it doesn't. Andy Everson, that's him. Jacqueline got it. Andy Everson, I knew would know the name if I saw it. Yeah, his whole thing is everything. Yeah, there has to be things that are connected together. You got to have shapes that are connected. Things can't just be out there. And so when I just thought of it as I was painting this green, I'm like going, that needs to be connected. One of those things, we got to connect it. Andy Evanson. So Andy's only got, from time to time we talk watercolor artists on here, right? Or who we like and who we think others should watch. If you want to watch a guy paint and you'll just go, wow, find an Andy Evanson video. He's unbelievable. Now, having said that, I haven't watched any of his videos in a long, long time. A long, long time. But he doesn't really put videos out. He's got a YouTube channel, but he doesn't really put videos out, so that's not that exciting. A lot of you are saying you're going to check him out because you've never heard of him. You're going to be surprised at how good he is. And you'll probably see him paint a cow or something like that. He likes to put lots of farm animals in his paintings. which I think is hysterical. I'm struggling with my keyboard Minnesota painter. Okay. I don't know why keyboard didn't want to sit right with me. You're struggling with your keyboard. Yes, he's a Minnesota painter, and he's wonderful. And that's one of his, like I said, that's one of his things. Everything has to be connected somehow. Okay, we're coming along here. We've got a few things. I think I'm going to stop with the rocks here for a second. And I'm going to move on to my trees. And we're going to see how these trees fit in and look. But I have to say, right, there's some beautiful colors in some of these rocks going up. I mean, look look at how boring and drab. Where's my reference photo? Look at how drab that is. We've got one spot of green, kind of, you know, a third of the way down from the top left. I've extended it on mine and made it more green. And then look at all of those rocks are just a dull brown, ochre, grayish color. Oh. And then look at how vibrant these ones are. Oh, there's so much. They don't fit all in the right spot or anything like that, but oh, they're so vibrant and so becoming. And I haven't even done anything on the top of these steps. I might not do much here because that gives a lot, that lifts the painting a lot right there. He starts with a connected minimum value painting. There you go. You want to paint a Highland cow? Do it. I want to see it. Oh, let's see. I'm coming back here. So I'm going to get a little neutral and a little Paynes Gray and a little bit of this ochre. And between these three, somewhere, to me, is kind of the color of these trees. And I'll just start with this one. I'll use this brush. I was going to get a slightly larger brush, but I'll use this brush for a moment. He uses... Andy's interesting. He will oftentimes paint two paintings at the same time. I've seen him do it several times. He'll do a value sketch at the same time he's painting his finished painting, and he can kind of makes some sense, but I think you'd have to be pretty practiced at it to do it. But he can then see in real time the effects of what his value is going to do on his painting. Is somewhat interesting. While this is still wet, I'm hoping to add a little color to this. It might be a bit too bluish. We'll see when it all dries up here. No, not gray. I want sepia. Better. That's better. That's better. Maybe it's a little darker on this side. I'll put some dark on both sides here, because we're going to have this that comes down. Oh, there's one little old tree right there. I can tell you what I need to do is make this just a bit wider. Is that looking like a nice old tree right there? think what I need to do is pull just a little bit of this off. And then pull it down all around. Cool, there's one tree. Andy seems to do big sky landscapes. Is that right? Last time I saw Andy, he would do landscapes. I mean, almost exclusively landscapes, but I don't remember him. I remember him covering up so much of so many of them. Renee, you've been busy judging mead competitions and brewing. I need to carve out some more painting time. Yeah. Actually, that sounds like fun. But yeah, you should always carve out a little extra painting time. Let's see. I feel like since I did my tree here, I've just kind of lost contact. Where? I gotta do this other big one right here. Let me drop this in here real quickly. Spread some of this water around. Anyway, what was I gonna say something else now too. I've totally forgotten what I was gonna say. Totally forgotten. Anybody else ever forget what they were going to say? Eliza's regaling us with mead stories. Okay. Had it on your first time in Ireland. Do they... I generally don't know. Do they drink much mead in Ireland? I really have no idea. I will be honest, my international studies are a little lacking, as I don't get out of my city very much, let alone the country. Michael, do I realize I just get better and better? I don't. I don't know that I get better and better. I think sometimes I get more comfortable. I will say that, there we go. Let me flip that back around so we can all take a look at that tree there. I think that if I had painted this 6 months ago, I probably could have painted it like this on a Saturday afternoon, listening to the radio, or doing, something else while I'm painting. There's no way I could have done this on a live stream. There's no chance. So I don't know if I'm getting better. I might just be that I'm getting more comfortable and a little freer. Okay, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. Bunratty Castle at a dinner there. I don't know what's a Bunratty Castle. I don't know. Let's see, I got another rock right here that I'm going to put something on. Come on. think if it looks like I'm getting better, it's because it's bigger, right? I have taken on slightly larger paintings recently. I don't know if you guys have noticed that the size of my paintings has gone up from something that used to be like this big to where this is 13.5 by 11. So I know that what I'm painting is slightly larger. Where was I going to? Oh, I was going over here. You guys are all talking, having drinks and whatnot. So I listened to a podcast. Not that any of you are going to really have any interest in what the podcast is. I can pretty much guarantee that, and that's okay, because the podcast is about Ohio State football recruiting. It's a pretty niche thing. I wouldn't expect anybody to necessarily have an interest in that, but one of the things that the hosts say at the end of every episode is everybody should listen to local music and drink local beer. And I have to say, I kind of started taking that to heart. We have a brewery here in town that makes some pretty world-class beers, and started tasting them just for science purposes, really, just for science. I have to say they're really good. We're talking about the Blarney. Wait. So, talking about the Blarney Stone. If anyone goes to Ireland, goes to Bunratty Castle, but don't kiss the Blarney Stone, people have peed on it. Oh. That's just not even right. Why would you do that? Why? Because I would imagine a lot of people kissed the Blarney Stone, right? That's part of it. That's part of the whole thing. Just to kiss the Blarney. Isn't it in a kind of a dangerous place? I thought. What is that? Am I thinking of the right rock? Right stone? I'm sorry. The right stone? Is it in a kind of a dangerous little area? Okay, let's see. I got all my rocks going up the side here. I can leave a couple of these out. I will have to fill in something here. Let's see. We got this thing here. Kind of comes across that way. I'm going to make this kind of a shadow of that other rock, maybe. I'm sure the Blarney Stone has been rained on too. I hope. If people are peeing on it, I hope it's been cleaned. There we are. Oh, I like my steps going up. Doot, doot, doot. I'm going to add some little bits of detail here. So, I know that. Let's see, I've got this little area in here. This is going to make this like a dark brown. I don't really know what that is. I'm going to finish my crack here. Let's let that come all the way over. And I'm going to have to blend this down a little bit. There we go. What else do we have here? A little bit of something there. This is a crack in the rock. Comes out like that, maybe. Okay, I've got some stuff underneath here that I drew. I don't know that I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna put that in as a rock because I think it looks a little odd. And I'm gonna put in some darker areas in here, in and around. These rocks. Maybe this is in kind of dark shadow back here, but it's mostly dirt. Right, as it comes out, we can lighten that up a little bit. That's way too much paint. Way too much paint. That I'm going to blend this out as smoothly as I can all the way out. There we go. So hopefully this just looks like a little bit of dirt that rolls right up back here. I think that's going to look right. And then I'm going to start placing some dirt back here. I actually think I'm going to make this part into some more greenery. I think I'm going to do that first. Ooh. Right? It's just going to go all around this rock that's in front. And this can be yet another color of green. If I had some of that gouache, that'd be a good time to put it in right now. Liza, you're saying I'm doing an excellent job on the rocks. Thank you. I hope I'm doing an excellent job on all of it. No, I appreciate that. Oh, there you go. Look, it's like covered with a hobbit hole or something. There, it's just kind of changed the whole complexion of that whole side over there. It looks totally different now. I think it's okay. So I like this big tree trunk here. It helps to root it. I like this big one over here. We do need these ones here. But before I do that, I'm going to do some more dirt in a few of these places. I'm doing this because I know I want some of this to be nice and dark. It looks like the path on a summer afternoon. Renee, I can tell you, you have never been here. Because on a summer's afternoon here, it's usually dark and foggy. We don't have summer like the rest of the country has summer. Our summer is cold. I'm going to go right over top of that. Cold and damp. It's like a fictional. Well, maybe we have a couple of days that it'll be like this. But I woke up this morning and it was 45 when I woke up this morning. The fog was so thick I couldn't see the neighbor's house across the street. Our summers are the opposite of everybody else's summers. And that's okay. That's totally fine. I like our summers the way they are. My wife and I moved here because we didn't want like super hot summers. We had both lived in LA for, well, she grew up in the LA area, Los Angeles area, and I'd been living there for a decade before we moved up here. When we both figured out it was nice and cool up here all summer long, we went, oh, that's for us. The Bay Area, no, I don't live in the Bay Area. I live in a little fishing village that is halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's a little tiny town. There's not much here on purpose. There we go. Instant tree in the background there. That's kind of how it looks. Let me give it a little bit more. But now, let's see. Pacific Northwest weather has been nice this summer. That's good to hear. Your weather's probably not too different from mine. All right, that's growing off her that way a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to lower this whole thing down. I've got, well, I need to put something there. I'm not sure how to do this side here. I am sure how to do this side. 45, yikes. Let's see. After the landscapers use the blowers, clean off all the debris. We certainly don't have any landscapers. 45, yikes. Yeah, it was chilly. Renee, you live on an island. That's cheating when it comes to being cooled off. Because you get cooled off by the Pacific breeze and the water all around. I say that, and then I'm also going to say I totally don't blame you. I think living on an island, provided you can get some services, would be pretty cool. It's when you can't get any services on the island that it probably could get to be a little old. Growing up, my family had property in, of all places, if you can believe this, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We had 80 acres of property, some such thing as that. And we had our own lake. Right? Not everybody can say they've got their own lake. Right? It wasn't a pond. You can drive to the mainland. Okay, that's cool. I'm sure that makes it a lot better. Just knowing that you have access. But we had our own lake, and I remember taking the camping gear out and going camping out on the island in the middle of our lake. It was called Crooked Lake because it had a big bend in it. Like a 90-degree bend in the middle of the lake. It was the weirdest thing. But it was really cool. And if you were growing up and you wanted to do some exploring, I don't think there would have been a better place to do any of that exploring. It was pretty spectacular. It was pretty spectacular to do some exploring as a child. I feel badly sometimes for kids today because most of them aren't going to get to experience going out and hunting for stuff, you know, hunting for treasure on your own island or wherever, right? But that might just be a me thing. I know things are different today than they used to be. But I was always like, man, that just spurred so much imagination and so much interest in nature and doing things out and about that it's hard for me to understand that not everybody wants to get out and do that. And I'm rambling on and not paying attention to what you guys are writing. Sorry. I'm getting a little nostalgic here for the old days, or the older days anyways. So a few apologies. There we go. That's kind of a, I don't know, an area outside there. 80 degrees this morning. Woo! Ooh, the greater Phoenix area is sizzling. 80 degrees. So, Jacqueline, it's 80 degrees in Phoenix. I don't think in my town we've seen 80 degrees in 4 years. We haven't even come close to it this year. I know that for sure. Let's see. Natalie's saying, it was lovely. Holy cow. I had this conversation with my wife. We went out to a new trail this weekend, to a lake. Kind of a lake. It's called a lake. It's called Lake Oso Flaco. I didn't know anything about Oso Flaco, other than my wife said, we're going to Oso Flaco. And I went, yeah, okay, cool, let's check it out. It's a lake up on a mesa. And we were out there, and it was a bit warmer there than it was here. I think this is where I was going with. It was a bit warmer there than it was here, and it was probably 75 while we were there. And I went, this might be a bit too warm for me. I'm used to about 60 degrees. $75 that's plenty. We don't need more than 75. All right, it's coming together. This is interesting, the brown as opposed to the green, but it does really give you that pathway, boop 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 boop, straight up there. I do rather like that. Oh, what do I want to do? I have that reference photo up on my computer over there. And I know what these are that I've drawn. I'm not sure I want to put them on, though. I'm really not sure. I think it might be just as well to kind of leave them off of here. But I've got the little lines, little pencil lines on there. I'm not sure what to do with those little pencil lines. If anything, if I need to do anything with them. Maybe I don't need to do anything with them. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what that does, but that adds a little bit of interest. Summer is flying by. I sure hope winter does too. Skinny Bear Lake. It is Skinny Bear Lake. It is Skinny Bear Lake. That's exactly what it is. Oso Flaco, Skinny Bear Lake. I didn't see any bear. We have lots of things named after bears. We didn't see any bears. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have seen a bear. It would have made my day to see a bear. That would have been awesome, but unfortunately, no bears. I don't know if that helped. Added a little ridge there somewhere. Oh, I'm going to add a little brown right in here. I think having a couple of spots that have like this extra dark really might help to make some of this pop just a little bit more even. And who was my hard line question? Tide line, hard line, soft line. Somebody asked the question. I'm going to leave this as kind of a hard line here. Boop, 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 boop. That kind of works back that way. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, doot, doot. Oh, I think that does add that little extra bit of interest in there. I like that. 111. Oh, my Lord. Jacqueline, you're going to melt at 111. Oh. I don't care what anybody says, 111 is hot. But it's probably like anything else. You get used to it. Oh my God, it's going to... Oh my God, I just looked at the time. We've been doing this for 2 hours? Oh, we got to hurry up. I didn't mean to keep everybody here all night. Holy smoke. Okay, we got to get some leaves on some trees back here. There's some green that has to go on back there. You guys are all just hanging around talking about whatever, watching me paint. I'm like, holy cow. I had no idea it was we were that far over. I try to set something that I can paint that's going to take between, I don't know, an hour and a half. It's kind of what I set for myself. The fact that we're into 3 hours. Holy. You're enjoying it. Thank you for saying that, Tracy. This is where I'm going to screw everything up now. Watch me. This is just going to get some greenery in and around here. It doesn't have to be perfect. All it has to be is behind that tree. I'm going to do some back here too. Give me a little different color of green there. Maybe some that's a little brighter. Let's see. This kind of goes up and that way. This can all basically stay. Here, some green up there. I will say, right, I've never been very good at any of this dry brush technique to getting some texture on, but I have to say, in the past few weeks that I've been really trying to do this, I really think it's kind of come together pretty well. It's looking pretty nicely. A little bit more of this brown, this dark. Give me a little darker as it comes down here. There you go. That's a bit of. I gotta cover this up. I can't leave too much space there. There. This can come over, and I got a similar thing on this side. But of course, I'm gonna have to flip this whole thing around. My dry brush technique. My dry brush technique is something I never ever thought I'd ever be able to do. I just didn't, and I just lost all of my napkins, my towels. Never in my life did I ever really think I was going to be able to do some good dry brush technique. I'll be honest with you, I kind of wanted to give up on it a couple of times and just go, it's not for me. It's never going to happen. And then it kind of happened. And I will admit, it's not perfect. That's okay. Doesn't bother me in the least that it's not perfect. But it gives such a sense of closing in. I should have left this open a little bit more up here. That's on me. I really should have, because then as you come up the staircase here, you'd have had a little bit more light up here, and it might have added a little extra interest. Come on, why is this? More water, more water. These are much stringier branches over here. Something like that. on my dry brush. Look, sometimes you got to take a little credit where you can get it. All right, I need to get more brushes. See all this stuff on my palette now? I don't want any of this. I don't want any of this. Take that all away, because what I want to do is I'm going to try to make this pop a little bit more here. And I'm going to see if I can. Oh, why did I get this big brush? Let's see if I can pull a little bit of this color out this way. Just want to see how far out I can take some of this color. I want it to get really light right towards the edge, like nothing there. But I want it, yeah, I like that. I want it to have a little color in there, just a little touch of color. The pop, there you go. I wanted to have a little bit of pop, a little bit of sizzle. Yeah. We can do this. Of course we can do this. Give it a little pop. Sometimes when it's really light, it's just, I don't know, to my eye, it's just really light. But we're going to make this sing a little bit more, and it should add some extra interest. And then that's how I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff down here. Now, I won't be able to get rid of my pencil line that's underneath. That's all right. Right, that's fine. Nothing says we have to get rid of that. I don't know if you guys can even see this. I might be below the level that you can quite see. But I'm just gonna work to pull this down towards me. Like a little extra water, a little extra water. If we put in a little extra color in here, that'll be okay too. Where's my, right, just a little bit of something red here. I don't want much because I don't want it to overtake everything. But that little bit of warm color might really help. It might really help. Okay. Oh, no, not okay. Why did I have to look back up here? Okay, cool. You know what we got to do? We've got a little something we got to fix here. And we're going to fix it. Punch up the darks and everything else pops. That's true. That is very true. See my... I had to do something. When I did this in the least micro way possible. And I have that hard line right there below that tree. And I don't want a hard line right below that tree. I'm not sure I can get that hard line out of there. Oh, maybe I just did it right there. Maybe I just got that out. I'm just going to drop just a touch of blue in there. And that will hopefully, right? I'm going to say hopefully, that'll act as maybe a little shadow or a little something up there. Liza says, here's my compliment. I can see myself walking there. Thank you. I hope. Oh, let's see. This is going to be just something, just a shape back there. If I don't tell you that wasn't supposed to be there, nobody will ever say anything about it. Done. I just covered up that really light spot that was there. It didn't need to be there, I don't think. If I don't tell anybody it was a mistake, but I forgot all about that area, nobody will say anything to me. A little something to lighten it up. Just give it a little something to go on right there. Ooh, I like it. Okay, cool. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to do a whole lot of futzing with it today. I'm basically going to sign my name. I'm going to sign it right down here. There we go. And I'm willing to, well, what I need to do, wow, if I got to take that way up. I don't know. I hope you guys got to see all of this. But what I want to do is talk about, as I often do, those things that I think are fantastic and those things that I think maybe could be a little bit better. And while I'm doing that, I'm already going to change one thing. But one of the things I really like on this painting, I will just tell you, I really like the rocks down front, down here. I love these big rocks. I love these big slabs as they go across. I think those really turned out nice. I think this just needed a little extra color here. Something, it needed a little something. This rock seemed a little bland to me. It should be a little bit more in the forefront. Because there are all kind of rocks that go off behind it. So I think it just needed a little stronger color. So there, I've just dropped a little stronger color on it. Okay, I love these that go across here, that go across there, that go across there. Right? I really like these. They really make it planted and look like these are giant slabs of rock, which they are. Right? They're giant slabs. And then we got these cool rocks over here and this one over here that I'll be honest, I would be tempted to come back in and put another layer of paint on it, but it looks so vibrant and so cool to me, and they all seem to have their own place here that I don't really want to do that. I'm not even sure I would do that if I were doing this on a Saturday sitting here by myself. You know, maybe not quite as wild about the side over here. Maybe not quite as wild about this. If I were to continue on, maybe I'd do some kind of texture over here just to get a little something. But I don't think I would do anything on this portion. Right? Maybe a little texture here, maybe a little texture here. Honestly, I'm not sure it matters that much because that shouldn't be where your eye goes. Your eye should come straight up here. And then the biggest thing, I wasn't thinking about it. I was all excited about putting leaves on here. I should have left like an oval opening right here. That would have given your eyes some place to go as it curves right up, right? Would have gone right up there. Anyway, I still like it. I think it's fantastic. I'm actually really, really happy with it. I'm not sure what else to say tonight. All of a sudden, I've run out of words. So I will just say then that I know one person has posted to the challenge. It stays open. Challenge yourself to do it if you want. I'll put mine up there and you can see it in a little higher detail. Next month, the challenge is going to be watermelon. And it's something a little easier. Maybe something that's not going to take 2 hours. 2 hours and 8 minutes we just crossed over to do. But that's fine. It's fine. I thoroughly enjoyed doing this, so I'm happy to do it. Wait, Eliza says, Michael, I still want you to take old paintings and try to fix them. Okay, I might take that challenge. In the meantime, before I figure out how much of my old artwork I want to show, I do have a few topics I'll put up on the community channel. Everybody can vote on it. I have 5 things, and we can get those down to 3 tonight if you would like, or you can just tell me, no, we're good with going with all 5. I've got a toucan. I've got 2 birds, actually, a toucan and a kingfisher, right? Those are 2. I got a chameleon. It's hard for me to get away from doing animals, totally, but I got a chameleon. I have a lighthouse. I'm kind of committed to doing some kind of architecture. I'm trying to learn architecture. And the last one is an hibiscus. So if you guys like any or all of those, Liza, let's see. Liza, let's go to. Oh, it will demonstrate my grow. Your response to I should do do some old painting. Yeah, but I've been painting for so long. It's going to look bad. Let's see. Jacqueline, you're agreeing. Stop agreeing with Liza. Stop. Danny, you're saying a lighthouse? Okay. Hibiscus. All right. 2 of them. We can put 2. Let me mark it before I forget, because I certainly can do that. I'll put the lighthouse and the hibiscus on there. Anybody want to nominate one more that we can put on there for everybody to vote on? Or you want to leave it to me? Which is always dangerous because I pick stuff like this. Hibiscus. Liza is saying hibiscus. All right. Hibiscus will be on there for sure. I'll put lighthouse on there, and then I'll pick one more of those to do, and we'll see how that goes. But that'll be for next week. For this week, I want to say thank you to everybody who's come here and contributed. I truly enjoy spending an hour or two with you all. It lightens my heart to have some fun at the end of my Wednesday. It really helps me get through the week. So I appreciate all of you coming and spending, in this case, 2 hours with me. I want to thank you for that. I hope you will be back. I have already done a kingfisher. I've done a kingfisher. I like kingfishers. I've probably done 4 videos for kingfishers already, and probably a dozen other paintings of them. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to do more. Okay, so until next week at least, I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you're able to join me back here again next week. Until then, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.